Israeli troops have attacked Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis in war-torn Gaza. And that's despite medics warning that they are working under extremely difficult conditions to try and treat patients. Israel says that Hamas militants are using the facility for military purposes in trying to justify this attack. Let's get you some analysis on the situation. Monica Genya is with Doctors Without Borders, Southern Africa. Monica, it's great to have you on, and that's probably the understatement of the year, right? That medics are working under extremely difficult situations. I don't think that those of us who have never been to a war-torn country understand just exactly what those difficult those difficult circumstances are.
Yes, thank you for having me. First of all, we would like to say that Doctors Without Borders, MSF, strongly condemns the decision by the Israeli forces to issue an evacuation order to thousands of displaced people. And then after telling medical staff and patients that they could remain, there was shelling that was carried out on the hospital. And this after months of having heavy fighting outside the hospital. Medical staff and patients and displaced people were trapped inside the compound with very little access to any essential supplies. Many people were wounded by the intense bombing in the area and were unable to reach the hospital for emergency care. Impossible is not the word for it. We've gone beyond words here.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was mixed messaging coming out of Israel. First, stay put, and then evacuate without any opportunity for that evacuation to actually take place before the shelling began.
Absolutely. So the first communication was to evacuate all the displaced people, and medical staff and patients were told that they may remain within the hospital. And then immediately after that, the shelling began. And of course, at that point, medical staff and the patients who could then were forced to evacuate in order to save their lives.
Yeah. When you say the patients who could, Monica, I get the sense that there may have been a situation where doctors would have had to flee without getting all of their patients out.
Absolutely. There are still patients who are stuck inside the hospital, and we had to have our staff flee for their lives and leave patients behind, which you can imagine is untenable.
Yeah. And one can only imagine, right? Again, it's just so important to stress that we really just don't know the plight of the people and the doctors who are trying to make a difference there. Of course, Monica, this is not the first time that there have been accusations of hospitals sort of being a front for Hamas operations and for Hamas operatives. Has there been, to your knowledge, any proof of this?
To our knowledge, no. And warring parties must always respect and allow unhindered access to all medical facilities and their surroundings and protect medical staff and patients. And this we need to stress. We reiterate our call for an immediate ceasefire that will spare the lives of patients, civilians, and allow adequate and vital access to food and other basic commodities, and reestablish the healthcare, which is completely disrupted now, and on which the survival of the people of Gaza depends.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that exactly what you've outlined has absolutely not been adhered to. Hospitals, as it turns out, have not been safe zones.
They absolutely have not. Since the war began, our medical teams and patients have been forced to evacuate nine different healthcare facilities in the Gaza Strip, and that is MSF alone. After having coming under fire from tanks and artillery and fighter jets and snipers and ground troops and being subject to evacuation orders. Medical staff and patients have been arrested, have been abused, have been put to death. And provision of healthcare and scaling up life-saving assistance is impossible. It's being made impossible by the intensity of the bombing and shelling.
Yeah. So, Monica, let's try and paint a picture of just exactly how impossible things are there. Without clean running water, access to proper medication, electricity, medicines, how are doctors who are putting their own lives on the line, how are they able to operate, and I suppose I mean that literally as well, how are they able to try and save lives in those conditions?
And the word here is try, and not always successfully as we would like. So our teams are working in conditions where they get very little food delivered to themselves and to patients, very little clean water, very few supplies, They're working on, they're still trying to do surgeries without anesthesia. They are trying to do medical interventions without the actual medical supplies that they need. It's like putting a bandage on a situation that is completely out of control. And our teams are still on the ground, still trying to assist, but in a situation that has rapidly become, as we said, impossible.
Yeah. How many doctors have been lost to MSF?
Our medical staff, we have lost 2, and we have some unaccounted for. And in this latest shelling, one of our medical staff was detained as we evacuated. And we are just trying to get him back and trying to ensure that he's treated with protection and dignity.
Yeah. And insofar as the Nasser Hospital attack in Khan Yunis is concerned, Monica, how many people, according to the information that you're getting, have been killed as a direct result of the shelling?
We do know that people have been killed. We don't have the exact number, but we know there is a number of people who are dead and quite a few more injured. We're still trying to get to our sources to give us more information on that.
What is the hope from MSF, Monica? We are now months into this war. Benjamin Netanyahu continues to say that Israel will be victorious and continues to make all kinds of utterances around wiping out Hamas. Of course, we know the civilian death toll has been incredible, now nearing 30,000. I think that's safe to say, with many, many more people still missing. Where does the hope of organizations like MSF lie?
We beg and plead the international community. We reiterate our call for an immediate ceasefire. This is the only thing that will spare the lives of innocent people, of civilians, of children, and allow adequate and vital access to food and other basic commodities, to medical supplies, and to save the lives of the people who are endangered.
Monica, Genya, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Doctors Without Borders, Southern Africa, as we continue to track the story around Israeli troops attacking Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis in war-torn Gaza.